to share our knowledge with each other. And as a continuation of this journey, today BSRI has organized the webinar on PET CT. We have two learned speakers amongst us, Dr. Ronak Afrin and Professor Brigadier General Dr. SMA Almuid. We also have in our panelist board, Professor Dr. Kamruzzaman Choudhury and Professor Brigadier General Soyed Zohirul Alam in today's session. Our first speaker is Dr. Ronak Afrin. Dr. Ronak has graduated from Mymensingh Medical College and accomplished her MD in Radiology and Imaging. Currently, she is designated as an associate professor in the Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences, Dhaka DMCH campus. Her area of work is radiology and imaging, nuclear medicine, and molecular imaging. And today, her topic of speech will be Introduction to PET CT and how to read a PET CT report. I would like to request Dr. Ronak to deliver her speech on this topic. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mahin. Respected panelists, General Secretary of BSRI, all my respected teachers and radiologists, Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening. Today, I want to share my topics, Introduction to PET CT and how to read a PET CT report. PET is a tomographic imaging technique which allows non-invasive quantitative assessment of biochemical and functional processes. Integrated PET with CT now has become an established and valued imaging modality in clinical routine. The combination of PET and CT scanner was first suggested by Railman in 1991 on his PhD thesis. The first commercial system reached the market by 2001. PET CT scanner, cyclotron, radioisotope, and radiotracer, all four are essential for PET CT imaging. In a PET CT gantry, both PET and CT scanners are combined to acquire sequential images from both devices in the same session, and both the datasets are intrinsically co-registered. This is the basic PET CT architecture. And this is our Philips 128 Ingenuity TOF PET CT scanner. And due to incorporation of the TOF, its radiation burden is less and scan time also minimized. PET CT console, and this is the ideal layout of a PET CT facility. Cyclotron is a machine used to make short-lived radioactive isotope that can be used for medical imaging or research. It usually produces positron-emitting radionuclides. A cyclotron does this by accelerating particles such as hydrogen atoms to very high speed and focusing them on a target substance where a reaction takes place that produces a radioactive element, and both the accelerated particles and target substance are specifically chosen to produce the desired radioactive elements. Once produced in this cyclotron, the radioactive material is transferred to a shielded hot cell where it is run through the sophisticated chemistry modules. As radioisotopes do not stay radioactive for very long, for this very reason, the laboratory must be close to cyclotron and both the end user. This is the cyclotron run by Bangladesh Atomic Energy Commission. Bangladesh Atomic Energy Commission is now providing FDG, including 3 government facility, including combined military hospital and 2 private facility. This is the inner part of our cyclotron. A radioisotope is an unstable form of a chemical element that releases radiation as it breaks down and becomes more stable. It is also called radionuclide. A radioactive tracer is a chemical compound in which one or more atoms have been placed. The main isotope produced by the cyclotron is fluorine 18. In addition, cyclotron can also produce other radioactive isotopes. Fluorine 18 is a radioactive isotope that decay through the emission of positron. And these positrons are key to positron emission tomography. It has a short half-life, about 109 minutes. The recommended dose for an adult is within the range of 5 to 10 millicurie intravenous injection. 18-FDG synthesis is an automated computer-controlled radiochemical process that takes approximately 50 minutes to complete. It is sterile, non-pyrogenic, colorless, clear liquid. It should be stored in a lead-shielded container at a controlled room temperature and should be used within 12 hours from the end of synthesis. Mode of action of fluorodeoxyglucose. Fluorodeoxyglucose is an analog of glucose. It just acts like normal glycolytic pathway as normal D-glucose. But when FDG is phosphorylated, structural changes occurs and that prevents it to catabolize. This process is called metabolic trapping and it makes the increased uptake and accumulation of FDG within the abnormally metabolizing tumor cells. Sources of radiation in a PET-CT scan, as we can see, both emission and transmission scans occurs in a single setting. So radiation exposure occur both internally and externally. Operational radiation dose during a PET-CT scan. Patient is exposed to the radiation internally and externally, and stop working in PET-CT also exposed to radiation during handling radiopharmaceuticals and close contact with the patient after administration of fluorine 18. This is the IAEA provided PET-CT staff whole body doses. For safe operation of the cyclotron, we should use proper shielding. Lead shielding surrounds the targets attached to the cyclotron itself. The wall, ceiling, and door of the cyclotron vaults are approximately 4 feet thick of specialized concrete to protect radiation worker and public. The whole facility has a sophisticated radiation monitoring system with multiple radiation detectors. Radiation protection in a cyclotron facility, we uses various types of radiation meter, dosimeter, and personal thermoluminescent dosimeter, lead goggles, thyroid collar, and lead jacket. BAC provides all its stuff to personal radiation protective equipments. And thermoluminescent dosimeter also provided, and during scanning storage of FDG, it is contained in a specialized lead container. This is properly shielded FDG preparation room in INMAS, Dhaka. And this is the radioactive waste room. All the radiation warning signs are in use. And daily quality control and QC tests also done, and all QC data are documented as per International Atomic Energy Agency protocol. Bangladesh Atomic Energy Regulatory Authority, BAERA, is the regulatory body to carry out regulatory and safety functions, including nuclear generation and ionizing radiation. And Bangladesh has nuclear safety and radiation control rules and also has Bangladesh Atomic Energy Regulatory Act. The basic principles of PET-CT is positron emitting tracer is injected into the body and it collides with the electron causing annihilation reaction, and because of this reaction, two 511 keV energy gamma rays are directed at 180-degree opposite direction. These are called the coincidence photon, and these photons are detected by the PET scanner. So this is the general PET CT scan procedure at a glance. Common clinical indications of PET CT. Now it has become the cornerstone of patient management in oncology, differentiation of benign from malignant lesions, searching for unknown primary, patient presence with a paraneoplastic syndrome, staging of known malignancy, monitoring the effect of the therapy on known malignancy. Determining whether residual abnormalities detected on physical examination, either it represents tumor or post-treatment fibrosis, detecting tumor recurrence, selection of the biopsy site, and guiding radiation therapy planning. To get a good PET CT report, we need a proper patient history and good patient preparation. So in history, we should include particulars of the patient, either there is any comorbidity, clinical indication, general examination, local examination, other laboratory tests, previous imaging findings, if there is any known contrast allergy in case of female, any history of pregnancy. And surgery, histopathology, chemotherapy or radiotherapy history is very much important, as in case of surgery, we should advise a delay of 4 to 6 weeks to avoid post-surgical inflammation. In case of radiotherapy, the delay is 2 months due to radiation-induced inflammation. In case of chemotherapy, we recommended a delay for 4 weeks, but it is not applicable in case to see the interim response. During patient preparation, we advise our patient to take low carbohydrate diet, avoid exercise, avoid using staircase, do not take caffeinated beverages, keep hydrated, and we also tell them not to accompany children and pregnant women and take rest. Random blood glucose must be within 10 millimole per liter at the day of the scan, as hyperglycemia leads to poor preparation and poor scanning. During the injection of FDG and the subsequent uptake phase, patient should remain seated or recumbent at least for 6 to 90 minutes to minimize the FDG uptake in the muscle, and it also allows increase in tumor tracer activity due to intracellular trapping of FDG. And the patient should be kept warm starting 30 to 60 minutes before the injection of FDG and continuing throughout the subsequent uptake period examination to minimize FDG accumulation in brown fat. The patient should be able to lie still in the PET CT system for duration of the whole scan, that is 20 to 30 minutes. So a specific inquiry about claustrophobia pain at the time of initial appointment may decrease the number of suboptimal study. This is few example of poor patient preparation that leads to poor scan. So this is the responsibility of a PET specialist to ensure that appropriate protocols to prevent non-diagnostic or suboptimal study. An important aspect of interpretation is assessment of the initial technical adequacy of the study, and ideally it should be done before the patient leaves the department to enable repeat acquisition of any critical regions inadequately assessed on the initial examination. This is a typical scouting of PET CT. All this blue line for CT coverage and green line are covering PET coverage. CT scan for typical whole body PET CT, scanning begins at the level of the skull base and extends caudally to the level of the symphysis pubis. PET is performed following the CT study without moving the patient. Approximately 6 to 7 bed positions are planned in the 3-dimensional acquisition mode for scanning the entire patient with 5 to 7 minutes duration, and total time is average 20 minutes. There are some views of PET CT. One is torso imaging, base of the skull to mid-thigh is torso imaging, and extended torso is from cranial to mid-thigh, and it is applicable most of the cases. Whole body imaging are taken for specific cases like melanoma or tumor involving hands or feet, and limited area of imaging for cardiac PET or brain PET CT. In general, we follow in our center, first is scout view, then HRCT, then non-contrast CT, then contrast CT, and then PET. These are all the sequences of a PET scanning. What should be the content of the PET-CT report? Study identification, full name of the patient, clinical information, blood glucose level, all the information regarding radiopharmaceuticals should be included. Dosimetric parameters must be included, and in summary, we should clearly identify the study as normal or abnormal. If possible, a definite diagnosis should be treated. Whenever possible, TNM classification should be incorporated. If appropriate, repeat examination or additional examination should be recommended to clarify or confirm findings. For therapy evaluation, serial study should be compared using visual and semi-quantitative assessment. PET-CT review sequence. Initial review of the image blinded to patient history is valuable as it enables an unbiased assessment. The black and white cinemaximum intensity projection, that is MIP image, is foremost in the initial review. With experience, key findings are often established within seconds by review of the series. These are all the maximum intensity projection. This clearly shows where the lesions are. And there are various color map. We recommended rainbow scaling for superior tumor to liver contrast ratio. Next, we review the coronal PET images and triangulate apparent abnormalities on other plane. Then we found coronal images, then correlated with the CT image. And it is important to widen the PET window at last to see the brain. These all are the image reviewing protocols. Optimal windowing of PET-CT. There are three discrete image sets in a PET-CT data: alone PET data, the CT, and the fused data. And correct and consistent windowing is the key to avoid both the over and under interpretation of the findings. After completing review of the standalone PET-CT data, we should review the fused PET-CT images. But the experienced radiologist often see the CT first, then the PET-CT images. Interpretation of any structural abnormalities that are not associated with metabolic abnormality require particular care and can give significant insights into the nature of the pathological process. Here we can see in CT there is subtle CT change, but in PET there is evidence of metastasis. So we should require to image each data separately. And Becquerel and Sievert are we used for radioactivity measurement. It is essential to know some basic terms for PET scan reporting. One is SUV. SUV is the tracer activity in my radiation interest area divided by injected dose per patient body weight. SUV mean is the average mean, and SUV max is the maximum SUV in that region. Metabolic tumor volume is very important. It refers to the metabolically active volume of the tumor segment using FDG PET, and it gives greater accuracy in predicting progression-free survival and overall survival. Total tumor glycolysis is calculated by MTV multiplying by mean SUV. These are the three patients, all are invasive ductal carcinoma. SUV max almost same, but the MTV difference is much higher, and the patient who have higher MTV had poor prognosis. These are all the tumor parameters evaluated in 18 FDG PET. Liver uptake assessment is essential for every study, and it should be within 1.3 to 3. And if it is outside this range, it may indicate incorrect FDG administration or technical issue. This is the measurement of liver uptake, and it should be within upper lobe of liver, right upper lobe. And medicinal uptake measurement should be done in the thoracic aorta, avoiding its wall. To read a PET CT, we must know the physiological tracer distribution. It intense of FDG uptake happens in brain and renal collecting system, variable uptake in myocardial cell and digestive tract, low-grade FDG uptake in liver, spleen, bone marrow. Uptake can be happen in lymphoid tissue, thymus, and brown fat. These all are the physiological FDG uptake sites. We should know about this. Brain uptake, physiological myocardial uptake, uptake in the bladder and renal collecting system. There is intense uptake due to inflammatory cause in palatine tonsil. We should know about the false positive PET CT, either may be technical cause or misregistration artifact. Misregistration is particularly evident at the lung basis, resulting in difficulty differentiating pulmonary nodules from focal liver lesion. We can see a FDG uptake in the lung base, but in case of CT, there is no lung lesion. The lesion is in the liver. It is due to misregistration artifact. Injection artifact, sometimes we see. There is a focal injection artifact which can mimic like a lymph node, and linear injection artifact. In that cases, we should see the non-attenuation artifact PET image. FDG uptake in brown fat occurs in children, female, and in cold temperature. This is a thermoneutral PET, and it is in cold environment. It is extreme cold environment. So all these are FDG uptake in brown fat that may mimic a lesion. Uterine and ovarian uptake may see in a premenopausal woman, and it may be normal, but if in case of postmenopausal woman, it is abnormal and warrants further investigation. False positive adrenal lesion includes angiomyolipoma, adrenal hyperplasia, adrenal adenoma. Thyroid uptake may occur in diffuse nodular goiter or due to thyroiditis, but if it is a focal uptake, then we should consider for malignancy. Thymic hyperplasia can occur post-therapy period for up to 12 months. Radiation pneumonitis, another important entity, it may occur after radiation therapy up to 1 year. So it is important to elicit a history of radiation from the patient and to correlate the increased uptake with the CT findings to avoid missing a disease recurrence. That is radiation pneumonitis due to radiation therapy for a breast cancer. Infection is another cause. After chemotherapy, there may be various types of infection. And this patient shows a diffuse FDG uptake throughout the colon and pancreas. It is due to colitis and pancreatitis due to immunotherapy. There is another FDG with lesion in posterior neck. It could be mimic a metastatic lesion, but it is due to inflammatory origin in furuncle. Bone marrow uptake may happen, but in case of the patients who are receiving granulocyte colony stimulating factor or due to infection, inflammation, or anemia, it may be intense. So we should interpret this after a serial assessment of the sagittal and coronal view. After post-surgery and radiotherapy, there may be increased uptake due to inflammation, abscess, or other sites. So to minimize non-tumoral uptake of FDG, it is advisable to allow at least 6 weeks post-surgery or completion radiotherapy prior to performing the PET scan. There is inflammatory change after post-radiation and post-surgery in case of breast cancer. Flare phenomenon we should be in mind in case of lung and breast cancer and bone healing. This is the flare phenomenon. At baseline study, there is a left lower lobe mass and increased uptake in right humerus. After interim, the lesion is decreasing, but the bony uptake is increasing. It is due to flare phenomenon. And after completion of therapy, after 4 months, the lesion is again increasing and intense in uptake, but there is no such uptake in the bone. Osteonecrosis may happen in hip joint and proximal humerus. It should not be misdiagnosed as a focal FDG with metastatic lesion. Sometimes small size lesion like small pulmonary nodules do not take FDG uptake or low FDG uptake because of their small size and low PET spatial resolution. Carcinoid tumors show low FDG uptake. Hyperglycemia can mimic low FDG uptake. FDG negative tumors are well differentiated bronchoalveolar carcinoma, well differentiated renal cell carcinoma, and hepatocellular carcinoma. Usually they show FDG negative tumor or very low FDG uptake. There may be some benign pathological uptake like healing bone. After sternectomy, there may be increased FDG uptake for a very long time. And lymph nodes uptake may be due to malignant lesion or inflammation, and sometimes abnormal accumulation occurs due to spurious delivery of the tracer via lymphatic drainage, as when the tracer extravasates into the tissue. So we should be cautious about reporting about malignant lymph node. Degenerative joint or inflammatory arthritic joint also show uptake, and it is most common in hip joint and shoulder. Dual time PET imaging is very important to differentiate between malignant or benign lesion. If interval progression from baseline and delayed scan after 2 hours, if it shows intense FDG uptake, so it more favors in malignant lesion. But in case of this patient, baseline study shows heterogeneous uptake, but after 2 hours delayed PET show minimal FDG uptake, so it is inflammatory in origin. We should incorporate PERSIST criteria in our report, that is complete metabolic response, partial metabolic response, and stable metabolic disease. A female patient after her thyroid surgery diagnosed as anaplastic carcinoma, PET-CT shows hypermetabolic osseous metastatic lesion, mediastinal and hypermetabolic lung lesion, and also kidney lesion. Cytopathology confirmed the diagnosis, and now she opted for adjuvant chemoradiotherapy. Another patient first diagnosed as CA jejunum, but her biopsy report reveals squamous cell carcinoma, as squamous cell carcinoma is very rare in jejunum, so a PET-CT is warranted to see the primary. And the patient revealed a left lung mass with nodal metastasis and hepatic metastasis. PET-CT changed his diagnosis and treatment planning. Here another is a female patient diagnosed as medullary thyroid carcinoma, but her PET-CT reveals pheochromocytoma, left-sided pheochromocytoma, and upper abdominal mass. The patient diagnosed as a case of MEN2B syndrome. In case of breast carcinoma, the patient shows multiple lung lesion, nodal metastasis, and liver metastasis. A 10 years male child first came with left cervical lymph nodes, biopsy revealed Hodgkin's lymphoma, but when we do the PET-CT scan done, shows extensive left cervical and supraclavicular lymphadenopathy. So the patient was diagnosed as stage 4 anarbory staging. But after interim response, the patient shows good therapeutic response. There are no FDG lesions in his spleen and lymph nodes. So now he is diagnosed as Duvally criteria 1 that indicates complete metabolic response. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Raunaq Afrin, for your elaborate lecture on the basics of PET imaging. We have learned a lot about the technical aspects and also the points which we need to remember while we report a PET CT scan. If anyone has any question to ask to our respected speakers, please post in the chat box, because we will have a question answer session at the end of our lectures. So now I would like to